Hi, I'm Don. I'm the pastor at Shenandoah Valley Baptist Church in Stevens City, Virginia. We're glad that you've tuned in here to this little snippet that we hope will be a time of encouragement for you. You know, we've all heard messages that maybe had a catchphrase in it that you just remember. And I remember a message years ago where a pastor said that your attitude determines your altitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. You know, attitude has a lot to do with how we face life. You know, if you've ever owned a business or if you've ever coached a team, you know that most likely and everything, you'll take the guys with the right attitude over guys whose attitude may not be the greatest. They got talent, but their attitude's not the greatest, because the ones with the right attitude, they're going to strive. They're going to be there. They're going to hustle. They're going to try, to move forward, in their life and for the business, for the team and such. So attitude is very important, and the Apostle Paul addressed that in the book of Philippians chapter 4. I want to share with you for just a moment. Paul said in Philippians chapter 4 verse 8, he says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise," now listen, he says, "think on these things." Paul's talking about having the right attitude in life, all right? Having the right attitude in life. And the thing about that is we can choose our attitude. Now, we can't often choose our circumstances, all right? Sometimes there are just circumstances thrust upon us that we had nothing to do with. Case in point, this coronavirus that we're dealing with right now as a country and as a world. This is not something that we foresaw. This is not something that we looked forward to. This is not something that we hoped would come. This is just something that got thrust upon us, and here we are having to deal with it. But a lot of it will have to do is, what's your attitude going to be in dealing with this particular circumstance, or whatever circumstance you may be dealing with at this point in your life. I want to give you 4 things real quickly that I hope will be a blessing to you when it comes to just having the right attitude, okay? Choosing to have the right attitude. Like I said, you can't choose the circumstances, but we can choose how we respond to those circumstances. So first of all, number 1 is I can choose confidence in spite of my circumstances. Okay? Circumstances may not look the greatest right now. In particular, maybe your job is in flux. Your kids are out of school. What's it going to look like? Are they going back this year? Are they going to have to wait till next year? There's a lot of ifs, ands, and maybes out there in that circumstance. So how are you going to choose to face that circumstance? And the thing about the confidence is we can have confidence that our God knows about what's going on. All right? God knows about this. He knows when it's going to end. He knows what the days and the months and the year is going to be after that. And so we can have confidence in all that these things can serve to make us strong, to help us grow in our walk with the Lord and our trust with Him. Despite what kind of circumstances they are, and everything, we can choose to be confident in that. Secondly, I can choose to be positive in spite of criticism. There's only one man that ever walked this earth who was perfect and yet he got criticized all the time. Read the Gospels. Look at the life of Jesus. It was almost every time he turned around, he was getting criticized or critiqued for something. And so we can't sit back and expect to go through life without any criticism in the way that we behave, in the way that we do our life. And so it's just a natural part of life is criticism. Are you going to let the criticism get you down? Or are you going to take maybe what is good criticism and learn from it and then learn to pass off the bad? Keeping our eyes on Jesus helps us, navigate those waters right there. So we can choose to be positive in spite of the criticism. Number 3, we can be hopeful when nothing seems certain. I don't know about you. I like certainty. I like my feet on solid ground. But I know that life isn't always like that. There are just times that you just don't know. This time that we're living in now, we just don't know. When's it going to end? How bad's it going to get? How many more people are going to be affected? We just don't know. But here's the thing, we can be hopeful because in Christ there is hope. He is our hope. the blessed hope that he's going to come back one day and receive us unto himself. But we have hope in Jesus Christ. And when he overcame, death, hell, and the grave, and the resurrection and such, that gives us hope that there's something beyond this life. The things of this life are indeed temporal. They are not going to last, and they're going to decay, they're going to corrupt, but you know what? Those things that we do for Jesus Christ will last for all eternity. And then lastly, I can choose to be content in Christ alone. The Apostle Paul made this statement, that he had learned, I think that's the key word, that whatsoever comes in life, he learned to be content. Okay? Content. I think Paul got to the place to where he realized that the things of life are temporal, and that this life is just a short season compared to all eternity. And so Paul was content in who he was, and what his purpose was, and what he had. Maybe you don't have the newest house, but your house works. Maybe you don't have the newest car, but it runs and it gets you to where you need to go. Maybe you don't have clothes from Saks Fifth Avenue, but you have clothes that get the job done. And that's realizing contentment. That the things of this earth will decay, the things of this earth will not last. Only one life, so soon it will pass. Only what's done for Christ is going to last. So I hope that this has helped a little bit. Paul said, think on the good things. Think on the positive things. And I'm not talking about some pie in the sky type attitude. I'm just talking about an attitude that realizes that we see God beyond the circumstances. We see God beyond the criticisms. And we know that God has all things in control. Well, thanks for joining us. And the Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine upon you. Until next time, God bless.